Hey everybody, welcome to The Well. This is the show where we do what you do, and we're going to take you on that journey to see how we've developed our financial advisory practice as digital marketers turned financial advisors.
All right, welcome to episode number 3. We're going to go over our November 2022 seminar story. So this is the second seminar that Andrew and I have done together, and it's a wild ride. It's a good episode.
Yeah, this is a good one. You heard us, and if you watched the full episode last time, you heard how I ended it with a buco de pupo. That was a moniker that Richy gave to that restaurant after the fact.
Threw me under the bus.
That's right. That was you. That was 100% you. Full disclosure, Buca de Beppo is, I'm sure, a great restaurant for various activities. I think the high school band that came in during our presentation had a great time.
The V-shaped room was...
Oh, it was perfect. If you're doing like a rehearsal dinner or you're doing some sort of like family gathering and like noise and like kitschy decorations don't bother you, great place. I would never, ever, ever do another seminar at Buca de Beppo.
No, it's not going to happen.
Nope.
We also went in a brand new area, which is a good thing. You want that. So ideally you have 4 or 5 different locations around your city that you can swap to between seminars. So This being our second one, that's really all we were looking to do. The first one we did in a good city, which is our go-to, I would say now. Yeah. And this one we're like, okay, let's go south of the city a little bit more. So it was all brand new, and we're just testing things at this point. Still trying to figure out if we're even going to, how it's all going to go. And we learned so many lessons from that first one. We closed
93,200 or something. It was around $93,000.
Yeah, closed one annuity from that first seminar, which didn't happen by this point yet.
Right, we were still working on it.
Yeah, so the first seminar October. We're now November, a month later.
No, it was only 2.5 weeks.
Two and a half weeks. You're right. Yeah, 2.5 weeks later. Yep, because it was October 20th, and this one's November 10th. So we didn't write the annuity from the first one, I think, till January.
Early December is when we wrote it.
December, okay. Yeah. So, typical sales cycle. It took a couple months to do that, but so at this point, we've written no business. The first seminar cost us close to $8,000 with the food and that many people we had at dinner. This next one was going to cost us about the same, but we got a discount.
Yeah, well, discount is a nice way to say it. So we picked this area because it's an area that my family frequents, not this particular restaurant, but this part of town. Our church is down there, and we go down there quite a bit. And I know that there's a good population center down there that has money. And so when we're looking for various areas around our city to market, we obviously want to stay away from the areas that are lower income. We want to go to the areas that are higher income. And this particular area, not exactly where the restaurant is, but just south of there's a very densely populated area of wealthy individuals. So we're thinking, hey, this will be great. So we pick this venue, sight unseen, and we start running ads.
And on paper, online, it looked great.
Yeah.
Italian restaurants historically do pretty well. Yeah. For seminars. So that was our idea is, we're typically looking for a venue that's a little bit better than average, but not elite. We don't need $100 plates. Yeah. Our typical lunch is maybe like a $27 plate, and our dinner is like a $45 plate. Yeah. Close to we can get to that. So this kind of matched what we were looking for. Felt like it was in a good area. Parking was good.
And we started the campaign.
Started the ads.
And man, they came flying in.
We were having cheap RSVPs, and it was like...
Yeah, it was like we were like, holy cow.
Yeah, roster's full.
This is looking amazing. Like, we got to keep coming down here.
Yep.
We dug into it a little bit and found out why.
Yeah, well, yeah, we did. So Andrew said, hey, I'm going to go down to the venue today because he had a couple hours, whatever. I'm going to go down there, scope out the room, see how it is. It's like, okay, yeah, take a video. We use Marco Polo a lot of times. So like, take a Marco of that for me so I can see it. So you head down there.
Yep. Yeah, I go down there. I had to drop something off in the mall or something. I can't remember, but I had it was right next to the mall. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to go drop that off and run over to the restaurant.
Yep.
I walk in there and immediately just a pit in my stomach. I was like, oh, this is not good. And part of the problem was the aesthetic in the restaurant was not what we were going for. Half of the meeting rooms were under construction and not available for us to use. And the meeting room that they had assigned to us was not a meeting room at all. It was a section of the restaurant that was not even closed off from the rest of the restaurant, and it was like a V-shaped curved room.
It was a weird room.
There was no way they could seat more than probably 15 or 20 people in there comfortably with a presentation. Like if it was a family of 30, yeah, you could all kind of squeeze in and be comfortable, but
not to see a screen.
Not
like
to
half
see
the
a screen.
seats half the seats were booth, like a booth style.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're sitting in the booth, you can't, it's not like you can swivel your chair.
And they were tall booths too.
And they were tall. Like you just couldn't see the screen.
Yeah, it wouldn't have worked out at all. And so I left, and I immediately called Richy and said, "We've got a problem. This is an issue. We're not going to be able to hold a good event here, for a lot of reasons.
Yep.
Not the least of which was the fact that just the room was terrible.
Yeah.
The restaurant itself was dirty. Like it just was not a good. It wasn't going to be a good.
It just wasn't. But the problem is, we already signed the contract. We already spent money on ads.
Yep.
We were already into it for $4,000+
Yep.
So we said, well, let's cut the lunch.
Yep.
Because we had most people register for the dinner. We had, I think, like 3 or 4 or 5 units, or maybe up to 10 even. I don't remember.
Right.
That we had to convert from lunch to dinner. But we thought, okay, that'll, we can at least mitigate some liability doing that with some risk here.
Yep.
Just we'll go one dinner and we'll invite everybody to that. So and then we cut ads, I think, at that point too.
Yeah, I don't think we might have run a couple more days just to like get the dinner numbers up to a normal amount, but it was we cut them pretty quickly thereafter. It was we did not keep spending money on that campaign because it was just painfully evident that even if we had a good response, we were not going to have good success because the room was just not set up for it. And they couldn't give us the other room. I tried to say, hey, can we get this other room? And no, it's not going to. Construction on it's not going to be complete for another 2 or 3 weeks, and we only had 10 days until our seminar. And so tip number 1 from this episode, make sure you visit your venue before you start marketing to it, because if you don't know where you're going, you can go insight on scene, and the pictures they show you online or that they share with you are one thing, but when you get there in person, you gotta know exactly where you gotta visualize your seminar. Where's my screen gonna go? Where's my projector gonna go? Where's my speaker gonna go? Where are my people gonna sit? Where's my registration table gonna be? All this stuff has to be kind of visualized ahead of time, and you can't really get that from the pictures very well, unless it's like a big restaurant, like a Maggiano's type place that is set up like this is one of the things that they are known for is events.
Yeah.
If it's something outside of the norm, make sure you visit first, if at all possible. Eat a meal there, if at all possible. Figure out if this is a suitable venue for you.
Yep, absolutely. And if you can find a chain, like we've eventually found a chain. Actually, the very first seminar we did ended up being that, and they have 3 locations around Indy.
Yep.
And so we know exactly what to expect. We know what it looks like. We know the menu, the quality of food. So if you can find that, that's a good call. But definitely go to the venue before you put the money down.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So how did it go?
Well, we had 23 units register.
Yep.
Total. That was lunch and dinner. Again, we converted everybody to the dinner. 9 units showed up.
Yep.
And we got 4 appointments.
Well, how much business did we write on that one?
Well, this is the episode we don't talk about, remember?
Right.
So we can't say.
So this is after this was our first flop.
Yeah.
Complete flop.
There's only one person. So on our appointment sheets, which I don't know how you guys do it. This is how we do it, and it's been working really well. Is our appointment sheet is blue. We print it on blue paper, and as we go through the presentation, you check the areas of interest, and then you schedule your appointment on the back side of that blue sheet. So one of the questions we ask is kind of a net worth type of question. Are you under? How do we do it? Under 3, over 3?
Under 1. At that time, we only had 2. We had under 100,000 or over 300,000. We've changed it. We've since changed it, but at that time, it was either 300 or more or under. It might have been under 300.
I think it was just those 2, either under or over.
Yeah, under or over.
Yep. Yeah, so we only had one person indicate over.
Right.
Where from the first event, I think we had like 12 or something like that indicate over.
Yeah.
So we only had one. It was like, okay. So we were right about the quality.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, we didn't target the right areas. We just, kind of eyes wide open. Let's go to this venue. Let's run this event. Cool.
Yep.
And that's what we get.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the areas I think these events have made us a lot more empathetic as marketers, understanding that just because a venue is good, because honestly, that venue, if a few things had been different, would have been suitable. But we didn't go into it carefully enough from a marketing perspective to exclude certain areas that
Yep.
were driving those cheap registrations. And so on the surface, it's like, oh, this is going great. We're getting cheap registrations. We're getting a lot of people sign up. And then we start digging into it. And it's like, oh, not so good.
Yeah, most of them came from Indianapolis, which for us, there are pockets in Indianapolis that are good, but when we're targeting them, for the most part, we leave out kind of a ring around Indianapolis. And in this case, we were right on that bottom kind of side, about half, we were marketing half to Indianapolis, half to the area that we wanted. And most of them came from Indianapolis down, and it just wasn't smart.
No, it wasn't smart. So that's why I say it made us a lot more empathetic, because now when we're launching campaigns on the RA side,
Yeah.
that's one of the we've always been we've always been sensitive to it.
Yeah.
But it's never been it's not like the first priority. Now it's one of the first things that we look at is like, okay, let's look at the income heat map of this area for the advisor and say, hey, did you realize that this part of town is, and they usually know, you know, a lot of times they've even told us in the past, like, hey, I really want to avoid this area or that area. We didn't think about it, even though we knew, like, this is something we should be doing. It wasn't something that was a priority in our minds for our own campaign, and definitely has made us a lot more empathetic to you guys as we're running these campaigns ourselves to say, hey, this area, we need to be careful about where we market in this area, because even though the registrations are cheap,
Right.
the quality is low. And just having a room of 25 people does not mean you're going to have, 10 good opportunities.
Yeah. Silver lining, I guess. Well, it could have been. I said we've never been in a room where there wasn't money. There was one couple with money in there, and potentially one of those others that just didn't want to tell us they had more than 3.
Oh, there were at least 2 or 3 households in that room that had assets that we could have worked with.
And I remember a really good couple that I think they were going on vacation or something like that. But I remember he was very engaged, really wanted to come, and then, I don't think this is on our sheet, but I'm going to say it anyways. Lesson learned here. I'm pretty sure at this time had our appointment window like 3 or 4 weeks on our blue sheet.
Yeah.
Now we've cut it back to a week, because if they don't schedule within pretty much a week, like, make them come to us and say, hey, I'm not available this week. Do you have something? But if you indicate and let them choose 3 weeks after your event, you're screwed.
Yeah.
And we did that here. He went on vacation and never showed back up.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly it. So that's probably tip number 2 for this one.
Yeah. On
your appointment, however you're taking appointments, don't give the option on to everyone for more than a week out.
Yep.
Because if you do, they'll take it.
They will take it.
And then they won't show up. So I think our appointment stick rate at this point, 20 some seminars deep, is probably 70 or 80% within that first week.
Yeah.
After that first week,
dramatic.
It's flipped.
Yeah.
It's and so anytime you get appointments that are getting scheduled well after a week out, you're not going to get most of those. So that actually was something we were talking to another advisor after the November event, and he said that to us.
Yep.
So for sure that was the case with this one. He said, well, how much time are you giving these people? Yep. And we're like, we're giving them 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. And he's like, don't do that. Yep. You're going to lose 80% of those appointments to schedule after a week. And he was right, dead on right.
He was right. So we ate this one. It was, I think, $4,700 is what total we spent. And, but it was valuable. We learned an absolute ton. We did make some changes for the seminar presentation too.
Yeah, we did.
From the first one.
Yeah.
One of those was the video.
Yeah.
I think that was this one, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So our first seminar, it was just, we gave the presentation, kind of blew through it. We gathered appointments at the end.
Yep.
This one, we threw a 5-minute break toward the end. So what happens is I get up there, I start the seminar for probably like 15 minutes, kind of introduce everything, kind of set the tone. One thing I like to do is I always say, we really believe that nobody comes here, for 2 hours out of their day just for free food. Like, it just isn't worth your time to come here and do that. We know that. You're here because there's something in your mind. There's something that you're nervous about, stressed about, some anxiety. You need a second opinion on something. I want you to have that in your mind as we get started here. I like to start it that way because it sets the tone, right? And it also calls them out. If they are just there for the food, now they're not going to be as flagrant about it, right? It gets it a little bit more where we get a leg up on it. So anyways, I started out, I kind of set that tone. Then Andrew comes up and kind of teaches through the primary bullet points of whatever it is: taxes, inflation, Social Security, market volatility, those things, fees. And then right at that point, we inserted a 5-minute video.
Yeah. This is another tip that we got from another financial advisor. Like, hey, try to get these people to schedule their appointments before the very end, because especially in a bigger room, there can often be a mad rush. for us to try to collect the blue sheets and get appointments set. And it's kind of it kind of becomes chaotic. So he was like, well, take a little break and use and sell the break as, hey, this is a time to get ahead of, this is time to beat the line, get your, you want an appointment at this point, you want to meet with us, wave us down, we'll grab your blue sheet, we'll get you scheduled, and then we'll wrap up with just a few more minutes here to manage expectations towards the end.
Yeah, everything is positioning, like everything. So positioning is right. If you're that person that wants to get ahead of the line, because there's going to be a rush, and just say it, because you start planting the seeds of like, everybody here's going to schedule an appointment. And if you don't want to wait in line and you want to make sure you get the date and time you're available, then this is your opportunity. Use this time, flag us down, we'll come get it, we'll get you scheduled before everybody else.
Yep. And that's what we did in this one.
Yep.
And timing wise, we had a pretty good buttoned up system, but it was at that point in the night that the high school band showed up.
Yeah. Before that though, I would say half of the room only there for the food.
Oh yeah.
Like they didn't even try. They set up camp and they never even looked up. Yeah. Were not engaged in the presentation, didn't care. So we already knew right from the start, half the room absolutely not going to get them.
Yeah.
But then you're right. Then the camp showed up, and this particular room only had a half wall partition from our area to the rest of the restaurant behind us. So we set up our screen, remember, to try to block it, thinking that would help.
Yep.
And it did help. But then 80 students showed up.
Yeah.
Did not help.
Did not help. Didn't matter at that point because of the shape of the room and the restaurant behind us. And they were just being kids. It wasn't even like no ill will, but they,
totally fine.
They had
just
that
high
whole,
schoolers.
Yeah, high schoolers. They were a high school marching band or something like that, and they showed up and they were celebrating, I don't know, end of the season or whatever.
Yep.
And they were just having a good time. But as a result, everything after that 5-minute break, which is not super valuable stuff, but it's kind of the expectation things that we talked about in the last episode. That's where we inserted that. And
I'm screaming over everybody. And that was a pain in the butt.
Yeah, that was not great. But one of the other things that we did that I think was a valuable tool, I don't know who told us this or if it's something we just kind of figured out on our own, is we created our first master calendar worksheet.
Yeah, it was Paul.
Might have been Paul. Yeah, it was an idea of like, hey, these are the dates and times that are available on the blue sheet. And as we collect blue sheets, this is our master sheet that we now write all these people on. So we're not like sorting through dozens of blue sheets to try, oh, did we already schedule that time? Did we already schedule this time? And it's one of those things. It's such a simple little thing, but I don't know why we didn't think of it in the first one, but it was really, I mean, it didn't matter much in this one because we only had 4 appointments, but going forward, it's become a staple in our appointment setting process.
Yeah, it did help out. Another thing, well, Paul wasn't at this particular one just because it would have been a waste
right
for him to be there. Well, actually, I'm going to wait till, I'm not going to give this tip yet.
Okay.
Something that Paul does that I think is amazing. We'll go over that in the next one.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because that's where he started doing it. But the other thing that was good for us is we did have the sound system this time.
Yeah, we did. Yep, and that really helped.
Yeah, because without that, we
would have been totally screwed.
There's no competing. Even with that turned up all the way, we still had a hard time.
Yeah.
But without it, we would have been screwed. So that was good.
Yeah. I think another thing that we learned from this one that was valuable is there will be plate lickers. Every single seminar, there are going to be people that just come there for the food. They have no intentions of setting an appointment. I don't personally understand that mentality. I wouldn't waste 2 hours of my day for a plate of spaghetti in this case, but some people will, and that just is going to happen. So what I'm not going to lie. Sometimes it gets under my skin. I'll see this person, especially if they show up a second or a third time, that really drives me nuts. But at this point, though, we know we're paying the minimum for the food. We know that these people are probably not going to set an appointment, but we also know that they might. We've had a couple that have come a second time, and they didn't set an appointment and come in after the first one, but they did set an appointment and come in after the second one. Mm-hmm. So even though nothing really changed about the presentation, maybe it was just they wanted to make sure that we were likable, trustable, whatever it was. And so we've started to, I don't want to say ignore the plate lickers, but basically just don't let it bother us. Don't let it be something that brings us down during the presentation, because it's just a part of it.
Yeah, back when I was in the military, I was in 9 months of training, and every single day was awful because you wake up at 5 a.m, you get in formation, you get inspections, and then you go to 8 hours of classes, and you're marching everywhere, and it became a really heavy, like, this sucks feeling. And I had a friend named Adam. every morning he would say, "Hey guys, look at me. Look at me. It's going to be a great day. It's already a great day." And we all used to be like, okay. But after he did that, you learn that you need to protect your mind. You got to protect your mindset.
Yeah.
So if you see somebody who's clearly not there for you and only there for your food, the best thing you can do, in my opinion, at least for us, is just ignore them. Treat them just like everybody else. Give them their food and move on with it. I mean, we certainly have advisors that tell us at least that they'll stop them at the door and say, "Whoa, no thank you," and turn them away. Maybe that works for them. It would never work for us.
No.
It's just not our style. We've had people come who wouldn't even come into the room and demanded food. Now that was early on. I do think now if somebody had said that to me, I'm going to say no way.
Right.
Just because there's more experience under the belt, and you don't have to bend over backwards to feed people when they're not even going to come to your room, your presentation, So I think you have to draw a line somewhere. But for me, protecting the mindset, protecting the attitude, keeping things positive, you deliver so much better of a presentation, and you relate so much better to the people, which is 99% of the seminar.
Yeah. And I think more of that stuff is observed by the other people in the room than we realize.
Yes.
Because we've definitely had some feedback from people that, hey, that person was pretty rude and kind of impolite to you guys. That, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry I had to put up with that.
Yes.
That's happened a couple of times. And I think if we react poorly in those scenarios and kind of call those people out, then that drives a wedge between those other positive relationships too. So if you allow yourself to focus on the negative, you'll find it.
You'll find it every single time.
Yeah. But if you choose to focus on the positive,
right,
it's there too.
Yeah. And people can smell out your intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Like I went to a seminar, an advisor was talking about almost in front of the room who he thought had money in the room. And I just dude, what are you doing? Because they might not hear you, but they know if you're only there for the money, it's a business, right? We're all trying to make money. Right. Nothing wrong with that. Everybody in the room knows that because we're upfront and forthcoming with it. But at the same time, if you don't even look at the people you think don't have money, what do you think the people with money are seeing you do?
Right.
So you really need to have good intentions. You need to be a human being, be treated the way treat people the way you'd want to be treated.
Right.
That goes a really long way. And I think this event really put that in perspective for us.
Yeah, we learned a lot, and there's a lot of things that we will never do again as a result of this event. But like I think you said it in the last episode, it wasn't a failure. It was an opportunity to learn. Yeah. And it was a failure from a money standpoint. Like we invested $4,500 or whatever it was in this event, and we got nothing in return for it. Not even a good opportunity in an appointment. We had one good opportunity that just didn't ever come through. I think technically I could probably call him up at this point and see if he wants to come in, but I don't think he'd even remember who I am.
Yeah. Different schools of thought too. Like, do you chase leads that don't come?
Yeah.
Or do you not? Right now, we don't.
Right. I mean, we will chase them for 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 phone calls after the fact if they've told us they want us to. But if they're not pretty well engaged with us again, it goes back to that. If they're not engaged with you within that first week, it's a pretty low probability that you're getting them anyway.
Probably not going to happen. And because we're so consistent, we're constantly in front of new leads.
Right.
Constantly in front of new opportunities. So if we can't really chase somebody for months at a time.
Yeah. And that was another tip that we got from an advisor who said to me, Andrew, count how many hours you guys are spending chasing those people that have said they want an appointment, but they didn't actually schedule anything. Mm-hmm. And then compare that to how many hours you spend confirming the handful that come in that first week. And you'll find that your hourly rate, so to speak, on the money that you make on those people that you don't have to chase as hard is thousands of dollars compared to, maybe dozens of dollars on the people that you chase for hours and hours and hours and months and weeks later. He's like, yeah, you'll get 1 or 2 of those eventually.
Yeah.
But your time is far better spent. Just, don't worry about those ones. Move on to the next ones, move on to the ones that were profitable, and keep focusing on the ones that are right in front of you.
And the reality is, because we're so consistently marketing, we are dripping on them. They're going to continue to see our ads and our events and all of that. So it's not like we're not doing anything. We're just doing it kind of in a different way, which keeps us efficient on the appointment process. Yeah. Moving forward. But so after this one, we did have we're still I think we're still in conference rooms at this point.
Yeah.
So what that looks like is there's a shared office space that had 7 different locations, and we were just renting a conference room at the closest location to that person at this time. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, that was when did we switch that? January, I think. So it was after our December event.
Yep, which is next episode. We're going over the December event, which is the last one we ran in 2022.
Yep.
It was on December, let me see my notes,
7th, I think.
6th.
6th, that was close.
We did a lunch and a dinner.
Yep. And that was back at the original venue, I think.
That was back at Stone Creek. Yep. And cost us $6,800. We'll go over what the results were.
Yep.
Then, hey, I like your shoes, by the way, today. Keep seeing those things.
Yeah, these are the Reimagined 3s. These are the first pair I ever got retail.
Those are?
These are. Yep. I had
Lucky dog.
several pairs prior to that I had bought resell and paid too much money for, but these ones I've changed my philosophy on Jordans, and I only buy them retail unless it's something I really, really, really want. But I haven't found anything like that recently. So
That's all I do, because I mean, I figure if there's 5 to 10 drops a year that I actually like, and I pick those up,
yeah,
that's plenty for me. If I like you said, like Hannah bought me an anniversary pair on StockX, but it was like triple the cost.
Yeah.
But I wanted them, so cool, got those. So I'll do that, like you're saying, some special. But those are sharp, man. I like those.
I like those too. The True
Got
Blues.
some ones on today.
I did not. Those ones were available in a I didn't go for those ones, and I regret it.
They're one of my favorite pairs. They're just consistent.
Yeah, they look good. They look good with just about any outfit too.
That's the key right there.
Yep.
Can't really wear it with shorts, but any pants.
You could wear it with shorts.
I don't know though. I mean, Michael Jordan did.
That's true. He absolutely did. All right. That's all for episode 3. Buca de Pupo, Buca de Beppo. Never go back there again. But we are going back to that part of town later on this year, and
next,
we're excited to try it again.
Yeah, I think we're going there next, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. July.
Yeah, so we're shooting this. I don't know if I should say that. I'm going to say it. We're shooting this in, what is today?
It's late June. It's almost July.
Yeah, it's June 30th right now. And so we're recounting right now, November 2022, June 30th, 2023. But next month in July, we're going back to that part of town.
That's right. But we've learned our lessons, and it's going to be a much better.
We've learned a lot of lessons.
Much better event this time.
Yep. We'll share some more lessons in the next episode, but thanks for being with us. We'll see you for our December campaign breakdown next.